Well, it's that time again. Today, we're going to be taking a look at more of my Discord server's amazing art. This time, we have a theme. Today, we are looking at Cenozoic art. So many of my Discord members have submitted amazing things. There was a lot of them to go through. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to include all of them in my talking portion of the video, but I will scroll through every single piece at the end of the video. So be sure to stick around to then, because I certainly think that everybody needs their art to be seen because they all did fantastic. But yeah, this is all for celebration of prehistoric planet Ice Age. I am calling this Ice Age Week because that's basically what it is. So it's going to be a lot of fun to take a look at all of these really amazing pieces. But without further ado, let's get right into it. Right here, we have a mammoth render. I tried to include as many different art styles as I possibly could. This looks really cool. I love like how the shaggy hair looks, and it looks like it has like two sets of tusks, which is something that reminds me of Ark Survival Evolved. So it's like a stylized version of a mammoth, and it's just overall very interesting. It's cool though. I really do like seeing renders like this. I think that they're really fantastic. So that's a great start to the list. Next up is right here we have a Thylacoleo or a Thylacoleo, an awesome marsupial that lived in Pleistocene Australia. You did an amazing job on this. I love all of the detail that you put into it, all of those like individual hairs that were just placed, like added onto it. This was obviously hand drawn by the looks of it, and it just looks fantastic. You especially captured how strange their teeth are. Thylacoleo had very weird teeth. So yeah, that's another really good addition to the list. Ooh, right here, a Mechosuchus inexpectatus, a Cenozoic terrestrial crocodile from the Pleistocene and early Holocene of New Caledonia. That is really cool. And yes, I'm sure that you've noticed, but they did provide their socials up here, so go and check everybody out. They certainly go and support their art. This looks great, though. I don't think I've ever heard of this fella. I might have, but it just doesn't ring a bell. Looks really good, and I love the colors. It looks very naturalistic. Here we have some toy photography of a Smilodon, the amazing beasts of the Cenozoic Smilodon, that I should probably get at some point because it's just a really cool figure. Really cool pose right here. It's like yawning, which is really, really fun. Smilodon at dawn. I love seeing like big cats do like what we typically love seeing cats do, like normal house cats. I don't know. There's just something about that I love. A Hast's eagle. Look at that. Look how glorious that is. The details and the feathers and just like the fact that it's just like a full on portrait. The colors are really striking, and that's amazing. That is an amazing job. And this is, I believe, the first dinosaur on the list. Any and all Cenozoic creatures count. That includes creatures that are still alive today because we are still technically in the Cenozoic. And by technically, I mean we just are in the Cenozoic. A dire wolf eating a bunny. Oh no. This poor bunny. I like the way that the dire wolf looks. I like how you did the hairs. I like how they're kind of like sectioned off like that. That really gives the impression that this is a pretty hairy animal, and especially like those little tufts of hair up here. The nose looks really good too, and that rabbit looks really realistic. It's so realistic that it looks sad. 11 people reacted with a rabbit emoji. Scylopterus. This is likely a terror bird that we're going to be seeing in um, prehistoric planet Ice Age, because there was an image that was released of a relatively small terror bird that looks exactly like Scylopterus. So yeah, it was a small flightless predatory bird from the family Forest Rockidae, known as the terror birds. Absolutely. You did an amazing job. I love the way that the tongue looks, and I like the kind of position that it has. It's kind of like a really dynamic pose, like it's in the middle of doing something. And this sort of crown that it has up here, love it. Absolutely inspired. All of the highlights look amazing too. Yeah, this one's fantastic. I really quite like that one. Homotherium latidens. Homotherium is a type of, it's a mecharodont, much like Smilodon, but they're often known as the scimitar-toothed cats. They actually have smaller fangs than like Smilodon does. You did a really good job right here. I really like how you gave it the pronounced chin, which is something that Homotherium did have, mostly based off of like the cub that was recently found that has like some extra tufts of hair on its chinny chin. Great colors too. I really like that. Down here we have a Megalania. I'm going to make sure that I back up so that we can actually see the socials are right here. Okay. Yeah, we got Megalania right here. I liked this because of how much saliva you gave it. Komodo dragons and like the other varanids just have so much saliva in their mouth. That was very well portrayed right here. Amazing work. I think you captured it very well. This was a really cool render. I remember seeing this one. We got a couple like coelodontas over here. I just think it looks really, really pretty. I like how they're not entirely the focus right here. Rather, they're just a part of the environment. Like, you just happen to focus on something else like this bush right here, or maybe this right here, but there's just animals in the background. I think it looks really cool. It looks very, very beautiful. I really quite like that one. And Elasmotherium, that's two rhinos in a row. Very fun. You captured Elasmotherium pretty well right here. Gave it a long horn, which is like the classic depiction of Elasmotherium, as well as its huge hump, which is again something that Elasmotherium did have, and the head looks really good too. And we have Datch DLT right here. I absolutely love your work. And we have a lesser known species of mammoth here, that being Mammothus meridionalis. Meridionalis. It looks amazing. I love the little hairs that it has on its back. The texturing looks amazing too. I love the way that the tusks look. It looks very elephant-like. I think you really nailed that. Also really captured their sheer size of them too. Just absolutely amazing work as per usual. Ooh, and then we have a Thylacosmilus. I love Thylacosmilus. It's such a strange animal with huge teeth like that. It's not a cat either. Resting under a tree in the middle of a dry season. I love that. I love the environmental things. I think my face is covering your there we go. Help my face. No. But yeah, no, that's their watermark. That's their signature. That looks amazing. I love the striping too. Something that certainly does make sense for a predatory animal. And we have a Purosaurus over here basking, the giant caiman. That looks so cool. I love how it's kind of silhouetted right here, with the outlight, like a highlight on the sides right there to suggest that there's light coming from over here, because of course there is. And it's just hanging out. It's just hanging out on the bank. That looks so amazing. I really like this one. This was absolutely amazing. I love this art style right here. Like whatever art style this is, I love it. I love how the light is kind of like sitting on them that really suggests the fur. And it's interesting that we have some counter shading. You don't see counter shading on mammoths a lot in a lot of depictions, but it's actually pretty likely that they did have that. The woolly mammoth, Mammothus primigenius. You really nailed that. I think that that looks so good. And I love the way that the eyes look too. There's so much character in those eyes. Really makes it feel like a real animal that's, just existing in the mammoth steppe over here. Absolutely. And stranded, it says. Oh no, stranded. We have another Purosaurus right here. This time caught a fish. Yeah, the Purosaurus probably ate a lot of fish. That was probably a big part of its diet. This one's hanging out in the water, and I love the blur that you have on the background. That's something that I apply to a lot of my art. Although I don't put this much detail in the background. You definitely do a lot better at that than me. Amazing work. I love the way that the fish is sitting in there like it's being crushed by that sheer jaw that Purosaurus had, and the coloration looks really, really good too. Again, this looks very naturalistic. That's probably a word I'm using a lot. But it's true for a lot of these. And here we go, a chameleon. We have a modern day animal, as I've mentioned. At least I believe I mentioned it. But yeah, Cenozoic includes today. So we have modern day, like a chameleon right here. Amazing job. I love the details that went into this. Like every minute detail, every little like wrinkle and bump on its skin is present. Fantastic job. Now we have the glorious Paraceratherium, an angry one at that. I love how you show the dust all being kicked up. The shading looks amazing. I love how it's like a bunch of like cross-hatching, I believe is the word. Correct me if I'm wrong. But also like the definition in the muscles and just, yeah, fantastic work. This looks like a real animal that's kind of in a bad mood, which is kind of terrifying. Here we have a Mammothus primigenius, otherwise known as the woolly mammoth. I really liked the lines that went into this. I thought that was a really fun way to do something like this and made it feel very stylized. Like I just really like that. And the tusks also look really cool. Ooh, another Thylacoleo. It looks like this one might be prowling in the trees. It's likely that Thylacoleo was mostly in the trees, and then it would jump down to ambush its prey, kind of like a real life drop bear. I'm sure many of you are thinking, fitting that they lived in Australia. I like the way that his face looks. The walk of Walleri, amazing. I love the environment. I love how like these blades look, especially with the light on them. I love the little bugs that are present all over the place. And the mountains in the background too is just fantastic work. And those clouds and that light shining down, just amazing. I love seeing animals like this kind of silhouetted. We have Dryptosaurus, Chinoides, Antiquus. which an early diverging member of Anseriforms. I mostly read the ones that I'm not too familiar with, like the animals I'm not too familiar with. With a few close living relatives, analysis of their bone structure and its location suggests that it probably bore two knife-like spurs on its wings, just like its modern cousins. It's like a flying iguanodon. It's notable because it's a bit leaner and more gracile than the modern screamers, which are fairly robust birds. And yeah, you can see right there. Amazing work. I love the detail in this. You always do really detailed work. It's fantastic. Right here, we have a Dromornis. I love the environment. Again, you guys are like really killing it as far as the environment goes. And that's something that I'm appreciating way more because I've started drawing recently and environments are hard. That's like it's really hard to do a convincing environment. And so many of you do really convincing environments. You guys are amazing. The grass looks really good, and I love all of the vegetation down here. But the trees, I love the way that these trees look. They look so rounded and just real. And then this fella, it completes it. It completes the look. I love it. Right here, a Pelagornis, which is a huge bird, like with a really long wingspan, and it had like modified extensions of the beak that are basically like very similar to teeth, and eating an unfortunate Encodus libicus. It was pretty unfortunate, that poor fella. I like the coloration. I like your method of you applying the colors to this. It adds a lot of depth to it, and I think that's very cool. Ooh, look at how amazing that is. A green tree python. Look at like the shine of the scales too, and the way it's just sitting there like it's a real animal that someone just photographed, but you put a filter on. That's how amazing that looks. Absolutely amazing, amazing work on that. As per usual, of course, I've seen your work before. Always fantastic. A lot of you I have seen before. You know, I've seen your art before. I do try to be very vigilant when it comes to art because I think that art is something that needs to be supported. And, you know, so I see a lot of the same styles pop up every once in a while with like, or the same people pop up every once in a while. And it's always really cool to see because, like, look at that. Beautiful, beautiful work. Ototus chabutensis. Yes, that is another another species of Ototus. If you don't know, this belongs to the same genus as Megalodon. Megalodon is actually the species name. Ototus is the genus name, the generic name. So this is another species that's, you know, very closely related to Megalodon. Always really cool to see other species within the genus. You know, you don't see that too much. Most of the time, a lot of folks do like to just portray Megalodon, which is fine because Megalodon is the biggest and the most famous example. But there were other ones, and this one looks great. I love it. Somewhere in Egypt, early Miocene, Digalophodon and Rimasuchus. Ooh, I love this style, and I love how you did like the environment. I love how you did the animals and your specific way of shading. It's a very inspired style, and I really do like it. It feels like a very cool snapshot. Yeah, a lot of terror birds. Kalenkin encounters a Wenkophis. Oh no! So we have a very dynamic one with some cool colors. I love the red. It leads into the white and the black and the orange down here. A lot of very interesting colors that could potentially pop up on a bird like that. And the browns back here too. Very cool stuff. Smilodon fatalis. I like line work like this. Very simple, you know, but with a lot of detail at the same time, so it still feels like a real animal. It's got a lot of bulk up here too, and a huge head. I think you captured the animal pretty well. Fatalis is, of course, one of the smaller species of Smilodon, but still no less iconic. And then we have another Smilodon that anyway, next up, we have another Thylacoleo. This one really stood out to me because this was a Thylacoleo after it just ate. Obviously, it just hunted a Procoptodon, otherwise known as a giant short-faced kangaroo. Probably a younger one because Procoptodon was probably like significantly larger than Thylacoleo. This is probably a scene that you would see. And I assume it happened at night, given the glow in those eyes. It's kind of terrifying, really. A seal. We have a seal here. Look how pretty that looks. I love the colors, and I love the little like reflections that we have going on here. It's very nice to look. It's like a very pleasing piece to look at. A posable Cryptoceras figure. That is so cool. Look at the detail in this with the colors and basically the whole anatomy and the head, and of course the structures that they possessed. Such a strange animal, but it's captured so incredibly well right here. I love it. This one's very dynamic. This one's very cool. It's two male aurochs fighting for dominance. These are relatively recent animals that went extinct relatively recently. I love their colors and the detail. The detail is just insane. Look at that. Like, wow. In the environment too, and like I said, environments are difficult for me. But you captured it so incredibly well, and all of the muscle definition and everything. That is a cool piece right there. This one was really cool. Decided to recreate the paleo art of La Brea tar pits by Michael Long. So there's a good chance that many of you saw this piece right here on the right. Very iconic piece that was recreated right here, with more like updated patterns and more updated proportions with some of these animals. And it's just really cool. You got some wolves down here. You have the smilodons up here, the mammoth right here, all unfortunately caught and being surrounded by vultures. The tar pits, La Brea is just an amazing place for things like this, because a lot of scenes like this might have actually occurred from time to time with how frequently animals were trapped there. So amazing work on this. I absolutely love that, especially just seeing these poses and everything in this kind of like modern style. This was really cool. We have two Paraceratherium, two bulls. Man, like look at that. Look at the colors and just look how dynamic all of this is. You know, two huge animals thundering around, just kind of like in their own fight, with this amazing scenery back here. Just really great job on that. And the Paraceratheriums look fantastic. This one was a fun one. This one made me chuckle. It makes me think of Walking with Beasts, where Gastornis here was portrayed as a predatory animal, because at the time it was thought to be a predatory animal. But then more research suggests, and isotopic analysis suggests, that it is an herbivorous bird. It had the proper beak for like crushing fruit and nuts and things like that. So here it is eating eating some fruit with an Eohippus nearby. I like that. I like that. You know, again, it makes me think of Walking with Beasts. Amazing environment, too. Since modern animals count, here is a puffin from my currently released mod. An amazing puffin right there. I love seeing like Minecraft style animals, especially ones that like keep accuracy in mind, but still keep them in that Minecraft style. It's like a fine balance, and you pulled it off here. Right here, we have Dorudon and an elusive Basilosaurus, which you can actually see back there. That is so cool. That adds a lot of depth and story to your piece. Amazing work. I love the shading that went into this, like the light on top gets darker down here and then more blue down here too. Really makes it feel like it's underwater. That is an incredible piece. And I love up here. I love the way that the snout looks. This was an insane piece. A piece done earlier this year, inspired by the Walking with Beasts No Species Last Forever track. Species include Host Eagle, Megaloceros, and Daeodon, respectively. And then, of course, here, yeah, you know, the social media. So yeah, these look great. Host Eagle, Megaloceros, which is my favorite deer, and Daeodon, otherwise known as the Hell Pig. These look so sick. Man, this art style is really incredible. There's like so much energy in a piece like this, and the lighting just looks amazing. Right here, Dentanosuchus, Middle Eocene. I like it. I don't know. I like the colors. They really pop to me. And I like the background. I like how you have some motion blur on these two fellows just trying to escape. This was a fun one. This is the Fossils and Archaeology Terror Bird. It actually comes from my series. This is the enclosure that I have the Terror Bird in, which, by the way, check out my Minecraft series, guys. Come on, it's a fun time. Anyway, I like it. You know, they said right here, didn't have time to draw the background. I think that it gives it a lot more personality when you have like the Minecraft background and then this fellow right here. It gives it a very interesting style that I think is just very fun. We have another modern one by Red, a sub-adult sparrow. How beautiful that looks. The feathers, the coloration, everything just blends together so nicely. Looks beautiful. It looks absolutely beautiful. I love birds so much, especially seeing some like modern day birds, because birds are something special. You know, we gotta love birds. Birds are amazing. Right here, I think you've actually tagged me in some of your work. My entry, not an extinct animal, but one that is critically endangered due to their homes being cut and burned down. I drew this to help bring awareness, as we might be the last generation that can help these beautiful animals. Absolutely agreed. There's a lot of animals that are, of course, at risk today, and will soon join that list of long extinct animals that we all know, like a lot of the Pleistocene fauna that used to roam here. Orangutans they're some of those, you know. They're losing their forests, they're losing their environment, and it is definitely important for us to make sure that we protect them and we can ensure that they are here for future generations, because an amazing animal like this cannot be forgotten with time, if you ask me. You did an amazing job too. I think I might have actually seen this piece on Instagram. It looks very familiar. It looks beautiful. You did a fantastic job on that. And I love that you're bringing awareness to something that is so incredibly important like that. Here we have some cave art, which is always a very fun style to see emulated. I like it. Yeah, I think you captured that very well. A Thylacus smilis right here. Very detailed. I love each individual hair that you gave it, and the spots are really inspired. And I love that schnoz. Judging from the fossil material, it probably did have like a very pronounced like schnoz like this, and a bit of like it had this extra structure down here that helped support its large fangs. Such a weird animal, but you gotta love it. Coelodonta, covered in snow. Looks beautiful. I love the colors that you gave it. It's a very nice style. I quite like this. And here we have a passenger pigeon. Passenger pigeons are animals that went extinct relatively recently. In fact, Martha 1885 to September 1st, 1914, last known passenger pigeon to live. And this is not Martha that they drew. And yes, that is another one that, of course, is an example of an animal that we unfortunately lost relatively soon, like recently, rather. You did great. I like the way that this looks. I love the background and everything. I think you did a great job. Here we have Megatherium, one of your favorite extinct animals. Thing is, he's kind of naked. There is a chance that Megatherium was potentially naked. I think Megatherium lived a little bit more north, so there might have been a little bit more hair present on it. But there is certainly a higher chance that like the its close relative Erematherium was naked given its environment. But I really wouldn't outrule the possibility that Megatherium was naked too. I love it though. I love the muscles and all the wrinkles that you gave it. Makes it feel so real. Made a 3D model of Inkayaku, the penguin with red and gray feathers. I love it. Those feathers really do pop. I love the coloration that it has. I think you captured that incredibly well. Phosphotherium, amazing. I love the colors that you placed into it, and I love the details that it has. Another animal that we lost, unfortunately, pretty recently, that being thylacine. I love it. Thylacine was kind of a strange little marsupial, and you captured that very well. We have a good idea of what the thylacine looked like, mainly because we literally have video and photos of thylacines. They went extinct that recently. You did a good job at portraying it. Gigantopithecus. I've had Gigantopithecus on the mind a lot recently, and you did a good job. I like it. This one's assuming the quadrupedal pose that it most likely had. This one's lounging around like many great apes do, and this one's walking upright, much like Bigfoot, which I assume this is a reference to Bigfoot. They're really cool, and all of the like bamboo and everything all over the place. The environment looks amazing. Here we have an adult Paraceratherium with I love the shading. The shading makes it look so 3D. Like all the highlights and everything. Fantastic work. Coyote, another modern day animal. I really like the way that the fur looks and the colors. You really nailed the colors. Paleo Pizza submitted a bit of a meme. I'm not sleepy. I'm eepy. Eepy camelus. Eepy camelus is a very strange kind of like camel that looks very similar to this. Oh man, such a fantastic creature that once existed. Here's a megalodon that actually has more of a slim body, which is mostly the consensus right now with how megalodon looked. This is a very different take on megalodon that I really quite like. It looks very distinct from like a gray white shark. A lot of the time when megalodon is being reconstructed in media and stuff, it looks a lot like a gray white shark, and this certainly looks distinct. And there we have it. Those are but a taste of all of the amazing pieces of work that everybody submitted. Thank you all so much for taking part in this video. I love doing videos like this because I am a person who just does not like generative AI, and I don't like the fact that a lot of companies are wanting to use generative AI instead of actually hiring artists. And there's like this huge push to replace artists. I don't like that. So I want to keep trying to do videos like this that support actual human-made art. And you guys prove every single time why that still needs to be supported, because all of you just do incredible work. That's pretty much all I have for the talking part of the video. For the rest of the video, just kind of like relax and check out all of the art that everybody submitted. Again, I think that everybody deserves to be seen here. So be sure to just kind of like hang around and, go and check out their socials and go and support them on there. And yeah, thank you all so much for watching this video, and have an awesome day.